Okay, here we go. We're recording. Welcome everyone to the Helm Dev Call on Thursday, February 8th, 2018. We're going to go ahead and get started with our normal things. Before we start, are there any specific announcements that people would like to bring up besides Helm Summit? Because I'll grab that in just a sec. Unless you want to do it, Michelle, but I've got it. Okay, so since there's no other announcements, Helm Summit is coming up here. Get your tickets, tell your friends, tell them to get tickets and come. It's going to be pretty awesome. We'll be working out the final last little nitty-gritty details here in the next few days, and we'll be ready to go. And Michelle just posted the landing page. I apologize for the slightly cut off schedule. So if anyone gets to here and is like, hey, I can't read the schedule, for some reason the way the embed works, it overrides the scrolling tag on an iframe, which why are we using iframes? Well, whatever. So it doesn't scroll. And so I'm working on it, trying to come up with an equally hacky way to fix it. Yes, it is the 90s. Enjoy it, Adam.
Can we just link off to it?
We can link off to it. You can click on it right there and it'll link to it.
Mm-hmm. I've done that. It's just not intuitive.
Yeah, I'm guessing it isn't. We can just link to it. If I can't fix the embedding, I might just switch it to that so people can go out to there. Just trying to make it easy on people. And anyway, so that I think is it for Helm Summit. Anything I missed, Michelle? Okay, perfect. Then for anyone who is here for the first time, what we'll do after announcements is our normal stand-up through the core maintainers and anyone else who's working on a feature, things they'd like to report back on. And then we'll have any discussion topics. Before we go into the stand-up part, does anyone have any discussion topics they want to bring up today?
Maybe possibly do like a little burn down on the things that are left for 2.8.1, so then we can kind of patch release.
Yep, I think that's good. I know that I was going to follow up on the trying to get a mailing list for new Helm releases out on what I've figured out so far. So I'll report on that. And anyone else for discussion topics?
I'll add to the mailing list segment when we get there.
Okay. The other thing that we'll need to follow up on, not necessarily this week, is the test infra stuff. Maybe at Helm Summit, we should all have a little powwow and decide what we want to use so we can let those people know. So anyway, let's go ahead. I will start off the stand-up. This week was just Helm Summit stuff for me. I am just putting some finishing touches, bouncing some ideas off of people, and then I will be back to reviewing who knows how many PRs are in the backlog right now. I will start jumping on those, and that is pretty much it for me. So I'll pass it to Adam since he is to my right.
Yeah, thanks, Taylor. I am a little behind on everything. I've really been away from my day job for 2 weeks, so just getting back into the swing of things. So I don't have too much to report. I've just been trying to be available for answering questions if anybody needs pairing help, and there's a lot going on in chat. I'm getting distracted. People are laughing too. Yeah, invite your cat to stand up. It's totally cool. The more the merrier. We'd always use people up to speed for reviewing PRs.
They're easy. I mean, what'd you do yesterday? I slept. What'd you do today? I'm going to sleep. Yeah.
Yeah, plotted. All right, let's get back on track and pass it to Fisher.
All right. I'm the person who puts it back on track. Oh my God. So last week, I was just kind of triaging things for 2.8.1, but I also noticed that there was another bug that has been long-standing for a while, which is the sense of multiple releases being marked as deployed. And so Carl Stoney and I were taking a look at that bug, and he was reporting the issue. And I think I've nailed it down. It was an edge case on when you roll back. And if you roll back after a release that goes out has been deployed, that fails. And if you roll back then to say like a release before that failed deploy, then what will happen is that the currently deployed release will not be marked as superseded. So you'll end up in the case where if you have version 1, release that okay, version 2, that's upgraded and that's okay. You do a version 3 release that fails, and then you roll back to version 1 or to version 2 or something like that because of state changes. Then a version 4 will come out that will be deployed. Version 2 will be deployed, and version 3 will be superseded. And the real state should be that version 1 and 2 should be superseded. 3 is failed, 4 is deployed. So I think I've nailed that down. I've written a unit test to get that through, but I haven't actually followed up with that one. But that was the majority of my work yesterday, getting that through. So for this week, and then going through into next week as well, Matt Butcher and I, we have to pair at some point on our keynote on day 2. We have no idea what we're doing so far. And then
Don't admit that in public.
Sorry. It's recorded now. And then the other thing is also just working on 2.8.1 stuff just to make sure that's cut, released, and people can start using 2.8. So that's on the task list today. Why don't you go, Nick?
Sorry, I'm going to hijack this for a second. So this issue around states for releases has been coming up, and we're getting a lot of odd behavior around that. Something we might want to look into is if not having state be having it be more of an array, so you can have. I think just having a static state that keeps getting updated, then you lose the history of that individual release, whether it's superseded, deployed, or failed. But if we have a sequential list, so we know, we just look at the latest status, that might help fix some of this. I was just kind of thinking about it as we were going through, but that's what Kubernetes does with, Core does with a lot of their objects, like deployments do that, pods do that. So it's just something we might want to look into.
Okay.
We had also talked about breaking superseded out into a separate field, because since we do basically every new release creates a new object, new release object. We had talked about just decoupling superseded and failed and succeeded. Would that help at all?
Oh, that would definitely help, because then it would just be metadata on another field in the release saying that, like, it was superseded by release whatever. That might be,
or even something like that, because like we have to get creative on the client side when listing deployments to filter out to make sure you don't get duplicates coming out when you're listing.
right.
Yeah. And if we added superseded as a field instead of as a value for that status field, we could even put it in label selectors and make it easy to select out that way. Because I think at max, if you went the array route, at max you would only have 2 items in that array ever. One of which would be either succeeded, failed, or any of those, like status ones, and the other one being whether or not it was superseded.
Yeah.
So if we could, we could move that as long as we did it in a way that that was backward compatible, so we could handle either by conversion or by accepting older ones that still had superseded listed in the field. I think that might. You proposed that a while back, Adam, and I wasn't too thrilled with it, but I think maybe given the situations, you were right originally with proposing that.
Adam's always right.
I know, it takes me a while to realize that every single time.
They all come around. All right, sorry for hijacking.
All right, go Nick.
Cool. So last week did a little bit of issue triage and looked at a couple of PRs, but all got sucked into issue with Chart Museum where the updating the version of Helm wasn't actually really updating the version of Helm. So was talked to Josh a little bit, and we were packaging that. So trying to fix that upstream with him. But in addition to that, also made a little bit of progress towards the Helm Summit talk, and got some stuff figured out for that. Super excited for that. So other than that, not much else. Been busy a bit internally as well. So I will pass it on to Michelle.
Hey, so let's see. This week I reviewed the auth PR. Fisher did an initial review, but that's a large change by JFrog, so I jumped in there. And today I'm aiming to do a second review because there were some changes. And so that's my big priority for today. I did also realize how much I missed reviewing Helm PRs and working on Helm. So I will be around way more this week, next week, and then after Helm Summit. Let's see. The mailing lists that we requested by CNCF are all set up now and ready for us. We have them. When I got that email, I just shared a little bit and then I did nothing with them. So I'm going to try to set those up eventually. And Taylor, I'll reach out to you because you probably want to get going on that release mailing list and stuff. So I think other than the Helm Summit planning, things are coming along quite well. I'm not blocked, and we'll be around more in the issue queue and PRs. That's it for me. Butcher, did you go? Okay, go ahead.
Nope, I can go. So last week, most of the Microsoft folks were on an offsite, so that's why we were mostly gone last week. This week, so I've been dealing with random bits and pieces of Helm infrastructure stuff this week. So I'm trying, I think we are now cleared to move the Helm images out of the, wherever they are now, the container repository, and into Docker Hub if we want to do that. So we can start that one. I'm still working on the binaries where we would upload the binaries. All of this is mainly in an effort to start gaining, first of all, more findability for some of this stuff, and second of all, better publicly available metrics of what's going on. Because right now there's no way for anyone other than the bucket admins to get any idea as to how much, how frequently Helm is being pulled and things like that. And we actually, I don't know if people know this, we actually get quite a few requests to us individually in email saying, can you please send us stats for the latest Helm downloads? And it's like, 40 minutes of wasted time every time. So I think we got approvals for that.
Hey, Butcher.
Yeah.
So in terms of the binaries, JFrog's been doing a bunch of stuff with Helm. Can we ask them if maybe we could store the binaries there?
That is a great idea, because most of the other stuff I was looking at was basically just buckets, and JFrog stuff tracks lots of metrics, and I think we can mark a project public in JFrog and have the download stats and things like that available, as well as like the history of releases and all those things that basically people want to be able to see, and there's no reason to hide that information from people.
I think it just might be a good idea because they're doing a bunch of stuff to integrate with Helm, so I think it might be fair and useful to kind of just host the binaries there and get some stats from it.
Yeah, that's a fabulous idea.
Maybe there's a way we could do something with bin tray, which is where Homebrew for Mac hosts all their bottles.
Yeah, that's another one that we've worked on, bin tray, before, although I thought they were commercial only. But
bin tray is JFrog.
Bin tray is owned by JFrog?
Yeah, that's what made me think of them.
That would be easy then. We got connections at JFrog. They gave me a hat. Okay, so that stuff has been in the works. I'm working this week and next week. I'm working to clear off some other things off of my schedule so that starting with the week of the Helm Summit and moving on forward from there, I will actually have designated development time on Helm each week, which I have not had for a month or two now. But in prep for that, it probably means I will not have much in the next week or two, especially traveling next week and then being at the Helm Summit the week after. So I was thinking there was something on Chart Museum that that had come up this week, but now I've lost it. So if anybody remembers something there, it's a cool project and it's been doing some good stuff. I will pass to Justin.
Yeah, I've just been doing issue triaging. I haven't really done any PR reviews. The thing that's on my mind right now, though, is late last night I was taking a look at some docs issues with the Helm docs.sh website, and I couldn't get Hugo to even load it with the instructions that we have in Helm www. And also, all the fragments seem to be broken, or not all of them, but many of the fragments. So there's an issue out there, and I think I know Fisher, you're on it. And so yeah, I don't know. It seems totally busted to me. I couldn't really build it to try to even start fixing it last night, but yeah, I put a comment on that issue, and maybe I don't know, Fisher, if you wanna, you'll probably see that if you wanna give me some feedback. I think you've built it more than I have, which is 0 times.
I haven't actually built the project as in like built it from source and document, like actually generated the tree.
Oh, okay.
I know of the person who has, though.
Oh.
Yeah.
Trying to get in contact with him and talk with him about how he set up the project and whatnot, and then
Okay.
that information and possibly fix
A man
it
at the edge of town with a book.
Is it Ronan?
Yeah, it's Ronan.
Yeah. So he's the guy who designed the Helm logos and everything. He manages that stuff, but it's only like, I don't know what, once every month that he does anything on it because it's pretty stable. So yeah, we should ask him if he can drop in and take a look at that.
It looks like the whatever JS it uses is rewriting the URLs to have a slash before the fragment, before the hash, and then that's breaking the URLs then on. So maybe just a little fix or something, but definitely it's an entry point for users, and then they come, they can't find something like RBAC or whatever it is, and then they inevitably come and ask questions, and it just goes from there. But
Could we-
yeah, other than
Actually, we should push this to a larger discussion because there actually is some other things as well. Like it's, I just looked on the issue queue, and we're still on ci.deis.io, which is our CI infrastructure from the Deis acquisition, and that is slated to be shut down in March. So we should probably get off that and onto Circle or something
Oh,
else.
so we got time.
Yeah. So.
yeah, let me know if there's anything I can do on that. Like I said, I didn't really fully grok it last night at 1 a.m. But yeah, I'm just working on issues. Nothing major. There's one bug with reuse values and some of the subchart stuff that I'm trying to figure out how to handle, and I might have to move some of that to Tiller. But yeah, that is it for me. Is that everybody?
I still haven't gone yet.
Oh,
So
Matt. Sorry, man.
Yep.
Go.
no. What did I do? There was the gRPC bug. It turns out when we upgraded gRPC versions in gRPC, there used to be a max data size or whatever, and it used to be one size for send and receive, and they split it in two, and so it broke. The API changed. So I dealt with that. There were some other 281 bugs because I know we want to get that one out the door. I think there's just 2 bugs left, and then we're close to getting it out the door. And I know folks want that because there's bugs in it, and a couple of people are using Kubernetes 1.9 now. So there was that. I've been working on my talk because I'm going to dry up and disappear next week, and so I need it done by the end of the day tomorrow. And it's almost there. I'm almost ready to get up on stage and talk. So I think I'm ahead of some keynoters as far as being ready. And then I've been dealing with this whole CRD application description, and I've talked to a couple of people about what that could mean to Helm and how we could do things going forward. There are a lot of disagreeing ideas on it, so I don't know how quick it'll move. But in the community meeting here in a little bit, they're actually going to talk about a SIG repo process, and people are probably going to want to start working on that soon over there in the very near term. And so I've been digging into that.
What's this application description thing? I've never heard of it.
So so Helm has a chart.yaml file. a whole lot of other people want to do that for their own thing as well, kind of, and they're trying to work together to come to some common thing and doing it in the name of interoperability. So maybe you can expose it in Dashboard or wherever else and just have it be accessible through lots of different tools. And so if a lot of other people are going to go work together on that, and in many ways it's just replicating what the chart.yaml file does, and maybe instances of a chart having an instance, we're still discussing it, then, and do that as a CRD, then that's probably a good idea for Helm to be involved in. And that's all coming out of the AppDef working group. So I've been sticking my nose into that, and I've talked to folks like Butcher and some other folks here about where this could end up going, and we'll probably talk about it a whole bunch at the Helm Summit. But I know there's some people itching to get working.
I'm curious because I'm doing the talk on a Helm 3 CRD idea. I even have like that proposal like half done and live, so it'd be good for me to know and kind of participate in that.
All right, I will take it to go and email you some links and stuff.
Thank you.
And so that's what I've been up to. Oh, and for anybody who doesn't know, the Charch CI system totally fell over. We had, I'll call it a memory leak, I'm air quoting here, do I have my video on, of a CI would crash out before we deleted charts we were testing. And over time, it slowly built up until a rather sizable cluster ran out of resources. We had things all the way back to September that had gotten left behind, and we ran out of stuff. And so now we've got our memory leak and things like that fixed. But CI systems failing to purge stuff and leaving stuff behind, it can happen. We actually ran into an interesting case where the Helm release would still be around, it would still be listed as deployed, still be using resources, and somehow the namespace couldn't be deleted because it didn't know it was gone. And I don't know how. Weird stuff was happening, but it's all cleaned up now. And that's what I've got.
Who is it that just posted about the import values thing? Is that what you were referring to earlier? Someone in the chat just posted about that.
Yeah, so that's me with now. I just wanted to bring it up. Hi. I've been talking to Jay Scott about this a bit this week. I've got the export values PR that's sitting on me to just actually improve the tests on before we move forward on it. But there were two things on the side of that. One of which was as part of that and as part of another ticket to do with how conditions are evaluated. I was talking to Jay Scott, and it looks like to actually resolve these properly means that there's going to be quite a lot of changes in where this logic is evaluated, because it would have to move from client into the back end is one thing. And the other is that as part of the discussions about export values, there has been a number of mentions on that ticket and various other places about the future of how we handle relationships between subcharts going forward. And I just wanted to bring it up on here that I haven't really seen any of the conversation about that and where that is likely to go. We've historically used 3, sometimes 4 layers of charts in our environment, so I'm quite interested to see how that progresses. I see my PR being very sympathetic to the import values way of doing things. It's just basically reversing the logic of that. So anyone who's used to import values would be very used to the export values one. But yeah, I'd quite like to know where that's going, and maybe it makes sense to raise a separate issues ticket and track it in terms of what we're trying to achieve and how we're trying to achieve it, and try and collate all the thoughts together. Does that make sense?
I think so. Are you going to make it to the summit by any chance?
No, I'm London-based, so it's a little.
Oh, we had that conversation. Sorry.
Yeah.
Right. I know Kevin Fox had gotten on there. He had grander ideas to expand it further than your implementation. And then we had I think Fisher, you jumped on there and had said maybe we can wait and talk about it at the summit. So I'm not sure we're going to move on it in 2 weeks. We're not going to have a feature release before then, as I understood it. So sorry, sitting on the vine, but
yeah, I mean, it was more to kind of try and understand where the thoughts are to how it's going to progress. Because, as I say, people keep on saying, oh, it's a bit of a mess because we've got some of it in values, we've got some of it in requirements, we've got possibly some of it other places, but I haven't really seen any kind of proposals on how it might evolve.
One thing I'd like to do is if we were to take your PR and do have to move it to tiller side to, basically merge your work in and refactor to where we're maybe just passing around a couple functions or something. So, because there's a lot of duplicate code.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, from my perspective, originally I was putting the PR forward as a kind of work in progress, just to go so that people could see what I was trying to achieve. I could see there was a lot of duplication there, but to be honest, it was mainly I wanted people to go, yeah, it's worth pursuing before I actually made it completely pristine and ready to merge.
Sure. Yeah, I know personally, Kevin has been asking me for this for a little while as well, something along that idea. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's worthwhile. Like I said, I just think we need to probably join forces, refactor, move to tiller. So, sounds like we have enough time.
Okay, that's it really. I mean, as I say, it would be nice to see the discussion somewhere of all the different potential proposals of how this will move forward, because we use it to map environments to products to components of products, and so there's quite the complexity of our charts isn't going to get any simpler. So
I think well, not to dominate the whole thing with this, but I think the real thing he wanted was to be able to basically export within the same chart.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, so you could redirect, a map key to another alias of a map key or something. So that's kind of the only.
I think just for terms of time, I think we covered a good amount today to make sure everyone was informed on it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So thanks for bringing that up. I have to drop here, but I just wanted to give a quick report on the mailing list thing, and I'm sure Michelle will talk more. I didn't really get too many people biting when I sent out the feeler. There's like one or two, but I'm going to announce it at Helm Summit is what I'm thinking, and see if there's anyone we want to get on as the power users, and then really start putting that together. Anyway, that's it. I'm going to pass it off to looks like Michelle to run the rest of the meeting, and don't forget to do assignments.
Hey, so on that note, I spoke to a couple of people here, and we're this is supposed to, whenever the mailing list comes out, we'd like to get on it. So
where do you want to do you want to just compile that list, Taylor, so everybody who has people send them to you?
Yeah, if you have anyone who knows, just to have them talk to me. You can give them my email or have them ping me on Slack. I can do either. Or
give them Taylor's phone number, home address, and social security number too.
Yes, exactly. That is 100% on. Michelle's got it all.
Don't you worry.
Okay, I have to drop, so I'll see you guys all.
See ya. Thanks.
Bye. All right, so it's 1:02, and I know we're past time. Do we want to continue talking about the export values issue, or do we think we have enough and we want to come back to this? Or
no, I think we've covered it.
Okay, cool. Anything else? We had some other discussion items, correct? Fisher, you had something?
Yeah, all I wanted to do was talk about what was in for 281, just to make sure that we're kind of burning down the lat. I think there's 2 more PRs left. One of them is my PR for reverting the --cube config flag that was introduced into 2.8. That broke existing functionality with the cube config environment variable. So someone has reviewed that and approved it, but it's missing a second one. So if we could get someone to take a look at it, that would be fantastic. And then Matt Farina's fix that he was talking about earlier, where we upgraded gRPC and only is it the send message or the send message maximum is not what it was before, but that's a one-liner change regardless, and that would be just a quick fix to bring it back to the way it was before we upgraded to gRPC. And then we can add testing later, unit tests and all that stuff. So,
do you want to drop those links for us in the Helm Dev channel?
Yeah, I'll be happy to drop those links in there.
Awesome, thank you. Anything else? All right. See y'all next week and online.
Assignments?
Bye. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Good catch. You always catch that. Okay, great. Who wants to do moderator next week?
I could do issue, or I could do the lead of the meeting next week.
Okay, who wants to do notes? Okay, and who wants to do issue, Sherpa?
My trip next week got canceled while I was on this call, so I will do issue duty unless anybody else really wants to.
All right, you got it.
Who was notes? I'm sorry, I missed.
That was
yeah.
me.
All right. Yep. No, got it. I just wasn't looking at the window when you raised your hand.
Sorry, I was on mute. I said me as well. Sorry, but I didn't realize I was mute. My bad.
The cat muted you.
That's enough.
So Fisher, Nikhil, and Butcher, and yeah, see y'all online.
Thanks,
Cheers.
guys.